we're going on tour in November with God's Eyes, so we're really pumped.
The boys,
on that.
The Furnace Fest alum.
The Furnace Fest alum. Yep,
that's insane.
They played Furnace Fest, and it's pretty fucking tight.
Yeah,
we're gonna be riding off of their clout the entire time.
That's exactly. We're gonna put like on the tour flyer like Terrasol or no God's Eyes Furnace Fest alum with special guest Terrasol.
And it's small font, just Terrasol.
Welcome to the 173rd episode of the Cast That Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering. This is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the mathcore adjacent community. If you enjoy this content, please like, subscribe, do all the things social. Every little bit helps. And if you'd like to join us every Sunday and Wednesday for the live cast, where you can interact with the guests in real time or just hang out in the chat, you can subscribe to this channel for just $5 to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms, as well as get some exclusive emotes. You can also do that for free by attaching Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. It's like taking $5 from Jeff Bezos' pocket and putting it into mine. Recently put up a pre-order for merch and for vinyl for the Sound That Ends Creation's new EP, Unicorn Laser Bubblegum City, which will come out in November. There's new shirt design. We got windbreakers. There's joggers. And like I said, there's some vinyl also. You can get that over at the soundthatendscreation.bandcamp.com. With all that out of the way, let me introduce our guest today, who dropped their debut album, Caustic Light, last Friday through Fisher King Records. Welcome in, Terrasol. How's it going, guys?
Hi. Good. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Why don't you go around and tell us who you are, what you do in the band?
Are you left or right?
Sure. My name's Hunter. I play drums.
I am Joey. I sing and play guitar.
I'm Steven, and I play bass.
Alrighty. Guy couldn't tell you in chat is essentially telling Hunter that he would like him with his shirt off. Do whatever with that information.
Take your shirt off.
I don't know. I really like repping thin. Let me get the thin shirt real quick.
I think you should take your shirt off.
Whatever. We're starting off.
Good for the boys.
We're starting off.
There you go.
He also said shirtless Hunter would bring me great malaise. So
that's not a good thing.
No, he's saying that he means shirted
bad.
Hunter after that.
Shirted. Okay.
But anyway, how did the band come together?
Yeah, so I, like 2016, just wrote a bunch of kind of mediocre power violence demos and just sat on them forever, didn't really do anything. And our other guitarist, who's sick right now, was just kind of pestering me to like start a band with him. At the time, this is Steven, he just introduced himself, but we were in another band called World Waker that was just kind of like 8-string proggy post whatever nonsense.
Like one of those djenty bands, or
it was kind of like the Contortionist meets Tony Danza, but like in a very not nuanced way.
It's on Bandcamp, so everybody stream that. Get it popular.
It's really bad.
Let's blow it up.
But yeah, so we were just like playing the super like techie smart guy shit where it's like I'd write a song and it would take us a month to learn it, and it just like was not fun. And it was just like we kind of wanted to play some brainless caveman riffs. Anyway, at the time he was in kind of a like tech deathy band. Atreyu was in like a kind of beat down slam band, and I was in Black Matter Device. And yeah, it was just something different. So in 2019 we put out a demo that we recorded in the tattoo shop basement that I was working in at the time. It's really bad. Don't listen to it, but that's kind of the origin story.
That's sick. So you just recorded the whole thing in the tattoo shop? Is that what you're saying?
In the basement, yeah. That was kind of like my first little makeshift studio.
What was that?
area.
Was that just the single, or was that the whole EP?
That was the EP.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Wait, really? Y'all's EP was recorded in the basement of a tattoo shop? That's fucking sick.
Partially the basement, partially my apartment at the time.
Okay, well, because it sounds fucking good. So like,
thanks.
That's wild to me.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I'll kind of revisit it, and I wasn't on it, so I feel like I have like some sort of authority to do this. But I'll like revisit it, and I'm like, damn, this actually is like this is fire.
And not just like writing, like sound wise, it sounds good too.
Yeah.
Like sonically, that's great.
There are some songs on it that some people in the band don't find like too great now, and I'm just like I'll revisit the whole EP and I'm like, okay, I kind of want to play this one, but like we're so much further down the line now that if we did that we'd kind of be like behind the 8 ball.
So yeah, you guys dropped something pretty much every year, which is really interesting because a lot of other bands have like huge holes in their careers since like 2019 because of like the pandemic, all that other shit. So it's really cool how you've been able to like keep up with releasing at least something every year. Like you got your EP out, you had a split with a band called Iron Price, and then you did that first single in 2019. What's your secret to keep going, to keep chugging along, getting something out every year?
I think stagnancy is just the death of creation.
For me personally, I when writing a song at first, I'm very entertained. I'm like trying to figure out all the possibilities with like maybe like structure or certain like drum parts and stuff. But after a certain period, like some songs sometimes sound really good when you're making them, but then after they're released and you play them, they just don't age well for you as a musician. So sometimes it's like that. For me, it's just you thought a song was really awesome at first, and then it's out and you play it so many times live that it's just like lost its magic. And sometimes some instances, so that kind of, at least for me, like it has like a creative drive to be like, okay, we just need to keep going. We need to keep searching for like that next really awesome idea, and hopefully it lasts longer and it doesn't get as stale for playing it.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I mean, it's like right now, like I've got demos of a whole nother EP ready to go, and we just put an album out 2 days ago. So it's I think kind of staying one step ahead, but also not letting things get stale. Because I mean, like even the album songs, we haven't really played much as a group up until a couple weeks ago. So it's just kind of like going into the studio, they're still kind of fresh and not just like, because I mean, like his other band, I know when they put their album out, the songs were like a year plus old at that point, and they were all burnt out on them. So
That's Dismantle, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Steven's in another band called Dismantle the Architect, and anybody in the stream should definitely check this out. Anybody watching, listening, how would you describe it, Steven? Real quick, this is like it's like pretty technical.
Yeah, I would say it's like, I mean, if you're fans of like Arcspire and stuff like that, it's not as technically demanding as that kind of stuff, but it is definitely like really hard stuff to play.
For sure.
But I would say at the end of the day, it's more, I would just say it's more modern tech death than anything. That's really the best way I can describe it. But I mean, we're on a indefinite hiatus right now. A lot of most of all my time anymore is with Terracell, which is kind of really what I want to focus on.
Hell yeah. And Steven writes some killer riffs. For sure. Yeah,
and like that goes back to what he was saying about writing the riffs, especially like when I'm writing a riff at home, I kind of just usually half the time when I write a riff, I'm just sitting in front of my TV just playing around, and something will just catch my ear, and 9 times out of 10 they think it's bangers, so I keep it.
We love it.
And surprisingly, one of our fan favorite songs on the album is one that I wrote, so I'm
Steven is McCartney of the band.
I wouldn't say that at all. but it definitely makes you feel good.
Yeah.
Because I'm very self-conscious when it comes to my writing. So usually I'll have like all these ideas, and like I'm the world's worst at like writing songs, but not showing them to them because I'm afraid that they're going to be like, oh no, that.
Oh yeah, he's just like, I don't know how I feel about this. What do you? And it's just like a fucking ass beater.
It's great. Empty Skies is the example of that on this record.
Yeah, the entire first half of that was him, and then I just kind of stapled some weird noodles to the end.
Yeah, like a great example of like what we were talking about earlier with songs kind of getting stale. That's kind of the split for at least myself, and I think Joey as well.
Yeah,
like those songs were like our first experience with me drumming, coming up with songs and stuff like that, and they were great at the time. But like playing them live, they've kind of just like lost their magic, at least for like some of us.
You can say all of us.
Okay, all of us, yeah. So yeah, I think the album is definitely like a great example of songs because they're so fresh still, where they still have their magic and we still think like they're awesome. We really are excited to play them live.
Yeah, and it's like the split songs. We were playing those like 8 months before it even came out.
Yeah,
we've only played one song off the album more than once.
We spent a bunch of time writing the split songs, and I think that's kind of what made them do that to us.
Well, so you talk about like getting stale and stuff. How long has the album been written for? Like, how long have the songs been complete?
Some songs like what?
A year, couple months. I would say a couple months, and some songs at least a year.
Yeah, I think it's been a little over a year since we wrote the first one. Like right when we put the split out, we started writing, and then one song we were still kind of working out the tweaks in the studio.
Well, like since recording, how long have they been? Like, how long has it been sitting there?
Well, we recorded it in like what, April, May.
Yeah.
May,
So
like
yeah.
Oh, so relatively quickly then.
Some songs like we literally added them last minute, and I think compositionally they were like pretty much done by March.
Okay. Damn.
And then we kind of were like, all right, we need to map this out. We need to make sure like it's good. And then like some stuff just kind of happened in studio. Like there's some drum parts that I kind of played around with and like doing my own like pre-production with Joey, and like some things were just kind of added in last minute and they just like vibed really well. So
I feel like your sound is pretty fucking wild right now. How would y'all describe your music? What would you like label yourselves as? And how would you describe it?
I mean, that's the thing. Like some people label us different things. I mean, I look at us as, you know, I just say chaotic hardcore at the end of the day with a lot of like post-rock elements. That's just kind of like what I say. It's more simple just to say that.
Yeah.
I think that gets it pretty well.
Yeah.
For sure.
It's really funny. The guy from Bright Eyes retweeted the Brooklyn Vegan feature for the album and was like, genre talk is killing the good left in music or something
so
like
good.
that. So like, I don't know, like it's fucking cheesy. Like we get called a lot of shit. We get called like post metal, noise rock, sludge metal. Like someone called us death metal recently, which I don't really get. But
I'm at a point now where I'm just like, we are whatever you think we are.
Personally, I think it's beautiful that people attach a genre to a band and like people still kind of like think, how did you get there? I think it's cool just to see how people's brains work with genres and stuff, because it kind of like sometimes exposes what people think genres are in certain stances and what they're actually not. But some people, like people's brains are different. People think that we sound like death metal, so that's pretty cool.
You can't like completely fault them. There are some parts where like that makes some sense. Like for instance, whenever I first saw you guys, like your name, like a long time ago, I thought y'all were a power violence band. Like the name Terror Cell.
We originally were.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Well, now you're. I don't even know what to call y'all anymore. You got like the crazy power violence moments. Then you have like awesome breakdowns. You got some crazy sludge parts, some slow doomy parts, even clean sections and stuff. It's a bit of like everything kind of thrown into a blender. Is that kind of like a fair way? Oh, obviously not. Obviously, structured better than throwing it in a blender. But you get to touch all these different genres.
It's kind of cool. Like Joey will have like a post rock part, and then we'll kind of try to figure out how to incorporate that without reaching too far out of bounds.
I think the main thing is just like trying to cover as much like sonic territory as possible without just like Frankensteining shit together,
without being like whiplash or whatever.
Exactly.
I hate to throw this band out there because they're so influential for it, but definitely BT Bam. We don't want to like take a lot of like the harsh transitional stuff that they do. I mean, like it's cool and everything. Like I've heard my share of BT Bam like releases and stuff, but like even still, like doing that stuff with us, I feel like may come off more like cheesy than anything. So, you know.
Yeah, and that was one critique that like the EP got a lot, is just like, oh, I really like the first 5 songs, and then the weird post-rock thing at the end just like wasn't. And I think that's kind of a victim of being on a short release, because I feel like we kind of incorporated a lot of the same like writing conventions on the album, but there's a little more context to it, where it's not just like 5 just heavy songs and then a random fucking post-rock track.
Yeah.
I think the other thing too is that like everybody in this band, we listen to completely opposite ends of the spectrum music. I mean, like there are a lot of bands that we all mutually like, you know, and listen to, but for the most part, like our music tastes are just so far out there that, you know, the influence is insane about, you know, what we're drawing in, you know, like with me personally, I listen to more, I'm a huge like grindcore and like that kind of stuff, just really angry, aggressive. Any band that uses HM2, I like. So I'm usually going to gravitate towards those kind of bands. But, you know, Joey listens to like, you know, he'll go from Fuming Mouth to Me Without You. So it's like the spectrum is so great when it comes to, and I'm the same way. I listen to a lot. Like I'm a huge like 80s dark wave and like you know, new wave fan. Like I love synth pop and stuff like that. So, you know, like my guilty pleasure band, I'm not gonna lie, are the B-52s. Like,
hell yeah, dude.
Why is that a guilty pleasure?
Devo slaps.
Like that's a huge, them and like the Go-Go's too. Like I love I love 80s pop. Like I love 80s.
There's nothing guilty about 80s pop. It's the best pop.
Yeah, I feel kind of bad. You know, I like the sound and inspiration. I don't know how I feel about that. Cringe Christian canceled.
But like I'll go from stuff like that to like Rotten Sound and Napalm Death. So it's like, like I said, for all of us, the spectrum of like what we're influenced by is so great. And I think that with our music, a lot of that is represented, and it just comes together for what you hear. So.
Well, Joey and Hunter, what about like y'all's influences and stuff? What are you bringing in?
Yeah, Joey, you wanna?
I mean, I genuinely don't even know where to start. I feel like as I've like been doing this longer, I kind of reach less for like metal when it comes to influence, I guess. But I mean, I do listen to fucking everything. I've been on a really bad 90s hip hop kick lately. But I mean, like, I feel like learning other styles of music and kind of bringing in that vocabulary instead of just like, oh, it's another band that rips off Dillinger. Oh, it's another band that rips off Gaza. Like, I feel like there's enough of that already that, like, you know, I mean, what's the saying? Good artists borrow, great artists steal, or something like that. I think that's true to some degree, but also like who you're stealing from, I think, is varying levels of impact on that.
Yeah.
You know, like there's a million bands that sound like Dillinger and like they do that sound well, but it's like they're not Dillinger.
I think another thing too is that there are a lot of artists and musicians out there that pigeonhole themselves.
Yeah,
for sure.
You know, I think that's a big thing too. Yeah, like exactly. And then like they realize later on, they're like, man, maybe I should have done this, or, you know, maybe I should have gave this type of style a chance. You know what I mean? Because like there are definitely those death metal or die people out there. You know,
Nuclear blast.
I used to be like that. Yeah, where it was death metal or black metal.
I'm guilty. I mean, I was a young stupid teenager as well at one point too. So, but yeah.
Now you're an old stupid.
Now I'm a 30-year-old stupid adult. So nothing's changed. I've just gotten older.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the big thing is that there's a lot of pigeonhole holding goes on. So. And I think that if you limit yourself to one thing, like there's so much music out there that, you know, it's insane. So
as far as my stuff goes, I'm all over the place also. But as far as like this band goes, Joey basically had to show me Converge for me to get what this band is about. And what I mean that is like everybody in this band is like very much influenced by Converge. So I wasn't really like a huge Converge person upon joining. The only album I'd really like listened to was X to Fall. So, and I didn't
not
really
a huge Converge fan then, I guess, if you the album.
Yeah, I didn't really like hear a bunch of Converge, and that was the only one, and I didn't really give that a chance. So
can I give a confession here? I've only ever heard Jane Doe, and it's sick. But I haven't moved on to the other albums yet.
There's so much Converge you are missing out on.
Honestly, I think it's a time and place type thing too. Like,
disagree. Converge is timeless.
I mean,
that's
Converge
fair,
is very timeless, but like, who knows? Chris may be wanting to listen like Madonna or something. You know,
I mean,
going from Madonna to Converge is quite.
I mean, yeah, but like, I think Senses Fail is a time and place band. Converge is like anytime, any place for real.
Joey saying this as just going on a huge 90s hip hop kick.
Well, I'm just saying, I like a bunch of shit that if I were to hear today, I would not like. Like, to me, that's like a time and place thing. But like,
yeah,
Converge is like your life, is what you're saying. Or like where you
base all that. It's just like, I think it's not music that dates itself. You know, like you listen to like old like MySpace emo, like Senses Fail. It's like, hell yeah, when I was like 17, that was the shit. But like, it didn't really age the most gracefully, you know? Whereas like, I feel like the 90s Converge stuff and even like their current stuff, like, I don't know, bands like that just have such staying power.
For sure. I went on a road trip to Philly last week, and when I did that, I got in a Converge kick where that was the only thing I wanted to hear. And I checked out like some of their old stuff like No Heroes, and then When the Sky, I don't know the rest of that record. But they just like, from me listening to it for the first time in a car, while also listening to a bunch of current music, they hold up for sure. There's a bunch of nasty like parts that I think you'll definitely enjoy if you ever feel like checking them out. But Joey showing me Converge kind of opened the door to a bunch of like music I had like not neglected, but didn't really know about. And it's kind of funny because I'll talk to people about influences and stuff. And when I mention the fact that like this is a very new thing for me, they're like, what have you been doing your whole life?
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about like mathcore, metalcore. I was doing a bunch of like other genre type stuff as far as like my listening. So getting this side of music is definitely awesome. Like joining this band definitely, I think, exposed me to a bunch of music that I needed to hear also. So, and I also take a bunch of influence from a lot of like modern bands too, like hearing stuff that all the Dark Trail bands do, hearing stuff all the other bands do that are current in mathcore, metalcore. It's very inspiring to also like try and channel some stuff and throw them in there as well. But Converge, definitely. When I first joined the band, I took the mathcore side of this band and how we get that association to like the max. I was trying to do stuff that I think everybody was probably uncomfortable with doing at the time, as far as like just weird like mathy stuff. Like at the end of the day, this is like a Converge type band that has like a bunch of like ass beater if you don't need to put like a bunch of mathy stuff behind it if it's not needed.
I like the term remedial mathcore. It's like it's there, but it's like definitely not doing too well in math school.
Yeah, it's carrying a D average.
Yeah, all these guys failed geometry in high school. Why?
I did actually. Yeah.
So the lyrics, a bunch of like, from what I get it's like about personal issues like addiction, depression, things like that. I assume Joey handles the lyrics, or
right? Yeah.
So what's your inspiration for the lyrics? Is it like something that you're living with, or are you trying to just tell stories, or any like how like what would you like to tell us about the lyrics?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. A lot of it is tricky. I suck at like making a narrative, so it's mostly just like generalized beliefs, which is another thing. I feel like I'm a relatively like, I don't know, I look at things with a lot of nuance, so it's really hard to kind of like fully endorse like, oh fuck religion, God is awful, or like, you know, like go on one of these extreme tangents, with the exception of like cops are bad, capitalism's bad.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the majority of our shit is just like fuck cops, burn your local police station. But I mean, you can only do so much of that. Like the EP was pretty much just that, and the split was pretty much just that. But I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like the pandemic was like really rough on pretty much everyone in a lot of ways, especially like interpersonal relationships. I know so many people that got divorced and broke up and all that. And I got like a 7-year relationship myself. So like that was really rough. And just kind of dealing with a lot of like feelings of being alone. And I think it's really bad realization that like just about all of my like childhood friends that I grew up with were either like dead or in jail. So on top of like, you know, being alone in my apartment and being isolated from everyone all the time, it's just like sitting with this like, oh, like all of my, you know, these people who I knew as like pure innocent kids are like dead and in really bad spots. Not to make the vibes atrocious or anything, but
no, I mean that's what the lyrics are about, right? So it's like,
yeah, I mean, I think this album's definitely a little more personal than I'd like previously been comfortable talking about. Because I mean, it's one thing when you make a kind of generalized statement like, you know, fuck cops or whatever. Because anyone with half a brain is, you know, there's only so much scrutiny you can really hold that up to. But like, once you kind of make things a little more personal and about you, it kind of like, I don't know, you kind of become a little more attached to the media itself. So like, oh, this song is bad is like, oh, you like, you know, your life is stupid. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you make, and what's funny about that is like even on Being of Light, you know, you make, you know, like when we talked about that the weekend that you came over, you know, that's a, you know, it's a song that, you know, I would have to say it does pertain, you know, it is, you know, if you've dealt with suicide or suicidal issues, that is definitely a song that is about that. But it's also a song that, you know, with it being the Being of Light, it's an entity or a saving grace, if you will, I guess.
Yeah.
That, you know, you're about to do the deed, and you know, it's the sense of just, I'm not going to do this. Why am I doing this? You know, if I do this, everybody that cares about me, it's just going to create a world of hurt and problems for them.
Yeah.
So, it's, I guess it's a song. Yeah. I guess at the end of the day, that song would be about, overcoming suicide and trying to find that light that drives you to a better place.
Yeah. That was a weird one. When I was kind of in that funk, I had this like really vivid, like suicidal ideation. And I went to bed that night and I had this dream that I like drove myself out to the river and like went to like, sorry if this is like super dark, trigger warning, I guess, if you're like, maybe walk, go to the bathroom or something. But like, I don't know, I had this dream where I like went to the river and like tried to drown myself. And I like, the river was like 1,000,000 feet deep and I just kept going down. And there was like this crazy, like, I'm not religious, but like angel figure or something. Yeah, that's kind of like the first song I wrote lyrics for. Lyrics are kind of always like taking a back seat to the actual songs. Like everything we've written as a band, I hadn't really had lyrics for up until we had everything done like with pre-production in the studio. But I tried to be a little more proactive with writing for this one because I knew it was going to be kind of a little more important just because, my headspace kind of dictated the tone of a lot of songs, which in turn dictated the lyrics.
So do you feel like you're not going to be as like political moving forward then? You're going to be more like introspective type of stuff? Okay.
Definitely still political.
Oh, definitely still political. Okay, gotcha.
That hasn't left. No. That's not going anywhere.
I think the only thing that was added was kind of like the personality of like who's writing the songs as opposed to like personal issues and stuff. And going forward, I hope that like Joey is able to explore that more and maybe like also, if Joey ever hits like a spot with needing to write certain stuff for certain songs too, I'd love to also like collab. Steven's also always open to write lyrics and stuff like that. But I feel like, exploring more of those personal things are going to be like the new thing for us going forward. And this record is kind of like the stomping ground for incorporating that.
And that's another thing too. I've also found when it comes to writing songs more or less based upon like, I'm not the best lyricist. So like a lot of like what I write is more or less what I'm feeling as far as musically. And usually, like I feel like writing songs that have more of a deeper personal connection or deeper personal meaning to me are the ones that hit the hardest.
Oh yeah. Live, you can kind of feel that, feel that energy.
Yes. That's that raw energy. You can feel that emotion. You can feel if one of the bandmates says, if band members is pissed off or if they're sad, or you could feel it.
Yeah. What's funny is
because anybody can sing political, political shit, that's so common nowadays, but obviously we're never going to stop that because there's social issues and causes that we believe so deeply in, and we're not going to stop preaching that.
Exactly.
But at the same time, we hope that anything in our, like me, I'm the first one to admit I do struggle with mental health issues, and I have ever since I was a child. I'm not going to get too into it, but it's pretty bad. So with lyrics like that and the way that the music, is written, the feel is just so much different, man. It's like a serious release.
Yeah, and it's funny because I'm not really the most lyrical person. I'm not a Levi by any extent of the means. I don't really look into lyrics of records like that often, but I kind of had to with this record because I got really curious about what Joey was talking about. And I'm just kind of like, math, I'm playing drums. Woo, these songs sound really good. And then I was like, wait, Joey, show me over those lyrics. And then Joey shot me over like everything. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, you okay? Yeah. Like this is not only is it host scaring music, but it's also like host scaring like topics and stuff to certain people.
Yeah, and that's like one thing. I don't know. I think like he was saying, there's definitely a little more impact when you're talking about something that's real, and there's like nothing wrong with like superficial lyrics, like the death metal guy screaming about like eating the world or whatever. Like that's sick, but like I don't know. Growing up like kind of around like the screamo community, like there's just like it's emotion, the music, like that's not Carly Rae Jepsen, to be confused. But that's like the core principle. It's, the fucking, I forgot the guy from Nirvana's name.
Kurt Cobain.
That's the one.
Courtney Love.
The Kurt Cobain sample at the beginning of the Page 99 song, In Love with an Apparition, just like it encompasses like everything about that. It's like the technical prowess does not fucking matter. Like if it's good, if it has passion, like that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. The worst known in chat says, damn, checking out the album right now and it rips, and we stan our fellow sad kings.
Hell yeah.
Except for Bright Eyes. We don't like Bright Eyes.
No.
Yeah, they can go somewhere.
Also, we wish J-Man the sweetest of nights tonight.
Yeah, shout out Converge for
shout
saying
out.
no.
Yes.
Yeah, shout out.
That was the best hard no I've ever seen. It was so great. It was so good.
Don't know how I got a copy of the record, but thanks.
So this is recorded and mixed by Joey. I assume in your house, or where y'all are at right now? Or?
Yeah, so I
another tattoo shop.
DIY, baby.
Not another tattoo shop this time. I kind of turned
tattoo shop. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, I kind of turned the downstairs. I got a house last year, and I just kind of turned the downstairs into kind of a project studio. So we tracked everything there.
Okay. How long did it take to get it recorded and mixed and everything?
Oh man, drums, it took 2 days. The first day was bad. We had like a really bad time the first day, and the second day we knocked out everything. I think the same thing happened with guitars. Took 2 days.
Guitar was 1 day.
1 day.
Damn. 1 day was, we spent 2 days on drums, 1 day getting guitar tones.
Oh yeah.
1 day tracking the actual guitars.
Bass took like 3 different sessions.
Bass took 2 sessions only because the job I was working at the time, it didn't allow me any. I would get off super late.
Yeah.
So the only days that I could do were either like a Saturday night or Sunday. So I guess 2 days technically.
A lot of it also was songs we wrote without Steven, and it was literally like, hey, here's 3 songs. Here's what I'm playing.
Yeah, so I had to
write something.
Yeah, so I basically had to go into the studio and like write bass parts for some of the songs. I never learned them except until I went to record them.
Right.
You still did them all in one take for the most part.
Yeah, so this album was pretty, as far as instruments, low fidelity. I think the thing that took the longest was writing lyrics and then like tracking vocals. Even then, that didn't even take that long.
I recorded vocals in this album 3 times over because I just wasn't happy with them.
And the back and forth between you and Hunter.
But
over the mixes.
It's funny. It's funny because like Joey will lay down a rough vocal track or something rough to them, but like I'll hear it and I'm like, it's done. That's it. We're good. And then Joey will be like, actually, I kind of want to redo this. I don't think it sounds as good. I'm like, bro, literally, what you're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah. I also
That's good.
After the second go through, I got to the very last song I cycled back around. I redid the first song. That was the last thing I tracked. And the very end, I don't know how I managed to do it, but I just like started doing vocals in a way I'd never done before. And listening back, I was like, okay, I need to figure out how to do that again because I really like the way that sounds. So I just completely redid just about the whole thing.
So you were talking about the instruments being done in like a day or two. Why'd y'all like take such a short amount of time? Why not like draw it out longer, like see about exploring different things and such? I was just, like, sick of like writing those or
I think we just had him down.
That and also we were like, wait, we've set a deadline for ourselves and we were months behind it. So at that point, it's like having a more sharp schedule is just like, if we don't do this now, we're not going to fucking finish it.
Yeah,
because I think committing to stuff on the way in is like my favorite approach. And I can play around with like reamping and all kinds of amp modelers and shit, but if it's good enough on the way in and we can work with it, then that's, it's less decision making in the mix process, which helps me a lot because I'm the kind of person that will do 62 mix downs of a song and then just never be finished with it.
I know that.
Compositionally, most of them were done though. Like there's a couple we had to kind of like hash out in the studio a little bit, but it was very like few and far between.
We also did a full instrumental pre-production before we started tracking. So we had like demo guitars, demo like live drums and everything already done. So we went into it kind of knowing like what we were doing and what we wanted to get out of it.
That also kind of changed my perspective on, and I know Joey recorded the record, but like as far as like my personal stuff that I do and like other projects, that kind of changed my my viewpoint in going into projects. Like for me, it's kind of like I read an article on the new Slipknot album just randomly because you do that sometimes, and I think one of the biggest gripes by some members was there was no pre-production, and this album kind of made me like think like, holy shit, like I don't know what it would feel like if we were to do another thing without pre-production. Like it would just feel so messy and like things aren't structured. Like pre-production definitely I think helps people realize like if something is going to be like enjoyable to play down the line or compositionally like at the best moment for everybody. So pre-production saves lives. That's the lesson of today's podcast.
Yeah.
So we got your album art up on now. This is a photo of Hunter? Is that right? No? Okay. Hey, I shot my shot and I was wrong. What are we looking at here then?
This is a photo of our friend Jessica that Will from there's other bands.
Tulpa Will from Tulpa took the photo. Will is a professional photographer.
Okay.
We're just surrounded by artists with all these different random trades and stuff that we can kind of just be like,
we
hey,
need to do a parody cover now of you standing at the window.
That'd be great. I did a Taylor Swift one because she like announced the like album at the Grammys or something like that. That was pretty cool to like make an edit of it like that. But shit, yeah, we need to do a fucking parody. That'd be awesome.
So what's this meant to like represent? What was the thought process behind this?
So we originally were gonna get Chris Taylor from Page 99 to do some art for us. And like talking to him was really fucking chill. He was kind of like he wanted to hear everything before he like committed to doing anything. But I mean at that point we were just like so far like not ready for that at all. Just needed to get something done to be done. So the original plan was we were gonna get our friend Jessica to pose in front of the window and have a flash in her face. So you just see kind of like everything, like her front and her face is just a blur. And we're going to have Chris do some kind of crazy shit over top of that. And then the more time we spent with looking at that image, Will took a couple other ones for like the back cover, liner notes and stuff like that. I think we all kind of collectively just like fell in love with that one shot where she's looking out the window. That was originally going to be the back cover. And I think it just works so much better than we originally planned.
And then I hate to say the obvious, but definitely the chat pile record that came out.
I was literally about to mention that like
yeah, like it's not the never mind. It is exactly the like, hey bro, can I borrow your homework?
Yeah, the formatting is so clean.
And I know like other bands have done it. Chat pile have kind of like brought that to like the forefront with how accessible and unaccessible but like very much popularized their music is now. So it's just a really cool format to like try out, and I'm glad we were able to like get something without completely like ripping off God's Country and all their other releases. Shout out Chat Pile by the way.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with like taking a cool template or whatever too. So.
It'd be one thing if we like took the actual art photo, like
yeah,
right.
So
there's just like going out
the border.
Yeah, there's just like going out into like a city or whatever and taking a picture of like industrialized shit or whatever.
If anything, it's to just show how like ingrained their music is for like some of our sound and influences and stuff. Like fucking love the band. So what better way to kind of, I guess, pay homage to a band and copy their homework, homage. What is it? Homage. Oh, it's like gyro.
Yeah, it's a weird word. It's like one of those words like you don't say a whole lot, so when you like see it
yeah.
Right. Sure. I've had so many people correct me and call it a hero is what they've been saying, and I still don't believe it. I don't believe it.
It's a fucking gyro, dog. I'm sorry.
Right. I think I remember people saying that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But now I don't hear that.
It is like actually correct, but like
so we have your music video playing now. This one's for Being of Light. What's the thought behind this? What movie are the things from?
What Scaring the Hose film did you put in the background?
So we hired someone to do PR for us, which was a very necessary thing, and I feel like it helped us a whole lot. Originally we weren't going to do a music video at all, and he was like, you really need to do one if you're going to push vinyl. And shout out Christian Mathcore Index, by the way.
Yeah, we love Christian.
Not just a rando. If you're trying to like put out an album and need help with that, hit him up. But he was kind of like, you definitely need to do some kind of music video. So it was kind of like, what's the most low effort thing we can get away with that still is going to look okay? So we just kind of stacked amps in a room, played the song, and spliced in footage from Begotten.
And I kept losing my glasses.
That's the best.
the Hunter glasses continuity is the best part of the video.
Yeah, I think it's good to have a serious music video, but also I think it's cool to have like that little bit of like wiggle room where it's like, like but it's like at the same time a little bit of silly like injected in there, but not too much to be maybe overtly corny, I guess.
What's the Begotten about then?
See, you can probably explain that better than me.
I've never heard of it before.
Begotten.
What is Begotten? Okay, so Begotten basically is I would just consider it like an art film of sorts. It's there's no dialogue in the movie at all. It's all black and white. Basically, it kind of represents like, I can't describe it. Like basically, like at the beginning of the film is what you see in the music video. That's supposed to represent God, and he's eviscerating himself and stabbing himself. Basically, and you see. I don't know, man.
It's like the rebirth of Mother Nature.
Yeah.
Basically, it's a really experimental art film.
It's basically a take on the Bible.
And now it's like this. Man, I hate using the word edgelord, but people associate it with like that type of like, oh, you're watching that film, that you know.
I don't think it's edgelord shit. It's definitely like art kid shit.
Yeah,
it's definitely not edgelord shit.
It's like a Reddit movie.
It's a movie. I really can't put it. You have to watch it to really.
It's definitely like something you see a viral post of like top 10 weirdest movies kind of shit. Right. It's like you know, people who are really into like the cinema. It's like a pretty big thing, but it's like a normies like Fisher Price, my first like art film.
Yeah, and it's only like an hour long. But
what is that one movie, like The Temple or The Mountain or something? Or Holy Mountain.
Holy Mountain, yeah.
So something along those lines then.
What is that?
Holy Mountain?
I haven't seen it. Alex loves it.
It's
my boyfriend.
Fucking trippy as shit. Oh my god.
Yeah, I need to watch it.
It has like no plot at all, but holy fuck, man. You know, that's a movie you take drugs to.
That's like that, like Tetsuo the Iron Man, like all of those like weird 80s like art films are so fucking sick.
Oh man, I remember watching Akira. Side note, and I like had an existential crisis after that.
Like the anime?
Yeah, that movie is so beautiful.
Booger Hand says Holy Mountain is great, but Begotten is more so like Haxon.
Yeah, that's my baby.
Yeah.
That's Alex.
Hi. Booger Hands. Hey.
I love you.
Post some critiques. Post more critiques, Alex.
Post Hole.
Yeah, that's definitely a movie. I can't really describe it. You have to watch it to really be like, okay, I get it now.
Speaking of Hole, there's a Pitchfork list of like greatest album of the '90s, and they put
Hole.
They put a Hole record above Nevermind. Like
a what record?
Like Courtney Love's project Hole. Like they did a Pitchfork '90s best album of the '90s, and they put like Nevermind at like 5 or something, and then they put Hole at like 3.
I like Hole, but that is just fucking wrong.
And then
sorry.
Didn't they say album of the '90s was Loveless?
Yeah,
of course.
That's understandable.
That's my driving off of a bridge record. You just listen to that record and you imagine like a ramp that just propels you into water.
So what do y'all have planned in the future? You got like tours happening or any music videos coming out or anything?
Yeah, we may be doing another music video. We do have I run a record label and I've started doing like a little mini series of like kind of like the what's in your bag thing, but it's just like influential records. So we did one of those. That's going to be coming out soon.
Fisher King Records, by the way.
I was just about to start talking about that. I meant to bring that up before going on to this stuff, but
Flesh Machine, Doll Baby, DB Cooper's on there now.
I just saw that today. That's crazy. I didn't know that they were part of it.
Only like Shay. I'm kidding. I love DB Cooper.
Real all-star lineup.
Yeah,
very proud of it.
Sure.
So are they doing like a new album with you then, or are you like, or did you press the last one, or
I pressed the last one. I can't say anything about the new album.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Okay. Shay just vomits stuff, and we're like, oh.
Okay, but we're going on tour. More importantly,
let's bring that up.
Not more importantly than DB Cooper, but more importantly than my little label. We're going on tour in November with God's Eyes, so we're really pumped.
The boys,
on that. The Furnace Fest alum.
The Furnace Fest alum. Yep,
that's insane.
They played Furnace Fest, and it's pretty fucking tight.
Yeah,
we're gonna be riding off of their clout the entire time.
We're gonna put like on the tour flyer like Terrasol. Or no, God's Eyes, Furnace Fest alum with special guest.
And it's small font, just Terrasol.
Whereabouts y'all going?
I think we're going up to New York, down to Florida, maybe a little above New York. I don't really know, to be honest. East Coast.
Yeah, East Coast.
Yeah, a lot of homies out on that side.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love it.
So y'all played a lot of shows. What's the best show you guys have played?
As a band?
Sure.
Honestly, I really like the Orbital show that we played.
Which one?
The
only
the
one. I guess.
last-
Yeah,
the
the one-
benefit.
That one
was fun.
felt really good.
That
We
one was
played
really
a
good,
show at this DIY art space, like music practice space in Richmond. They're moving at the moment, but they're called Orbital Music Park, and they're like a very cheap way to practice in a very awesome space. They're currently moving to have more space to accommodate more musicians because they had very limited space. But
Tom is the dude.
yeah, Tom's the
Tom
owner.
is the man.
The space is awesome. Sometimes they'll have gigs. We proposed to have a gig for an abortion fundraiser for Virginia Mutual Aid Fund.
Which
Or was Richmond Mutual Aid Fund?
No, it was Richmond Reproductive Freedom Project.
That was really successful.
It was great. We raised a bunch of money for a great cause. It was during a very important time. Roe v. Wade was, I think, just overturned.
Yep.
But it was rad. Like, it was for a great cause. We had a really great time. The lineup was awesome. We loved all the bands that played.
Yeah, it's a really great community space, and they're opening back up as a venue. So if you're in Richmond, practice at Orbital Music Park.
Yes.
It's great.
They should be reopening sometime next year. I think they've just closed to move into every house. But
the show at last year in New York, Trans Pecos, that was a really fun
Trans
show.
Pecos was really cool too.
I think that's my favorite. Also,
that was a good turnout, and people beat each other's asses. So that was also really good too.
There are so many friends on that bill. It was
a homie fest.
It was us, Gift from God,
Then,
God's Eyes, Then even the opening band.
Christ.
Yeah, it was sick.
It was a good show.
The opening band was also sick.
Vaso I don't remember. I'm so sorry. They were rad though. Vaso they fuck me. Something Constrictor. They were rad.
Yeah, Trans Pecos is an amazing venue.
Yes.
Shout out to Gift from God for always asking us to play shows up north.
That was God's Eyes.
Oh, God's Eyes?
That was all God's Eyes.
Yeah, shout out to God's Eyes for always being homies and asking us to play a bunch of shows and taking us on tour. I don't know if we have a worse show with me in the band, personally.
We haven't had too many nightmare shows. I feel like every other show something really bad goes wrong, but I think at this point we've gotten pretty good at recovering.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all had a bad show with Baylor. Baylor's the old drummer.
No, I can't say we did.
The one show in Falls Church wasn't great.
That's the one where you had all the technical difficulties.
Yeah, we had one show where I literally stepped on a cable and it split in half.
And
I just kind of I've never seen it happen before. It was like
how does that even
cable.
a thing?
It's like a nice cable.
Shout out to Baylor, by the way. We love you, Baylor.
Yeah, he's probably not watching this, but we love him.
Yeah, we love Baylor.
Yeah, so I just kind of ended up like at that point, everything else, like it took us an extra 10 minutes to set up. My amp wasn't working. I think Atreyu was having issues like getting a signal to pass on his pedal board. It was a shit show. And like at that point, I was just beyond done with it. So I was just like running around into people just screaming incoherently.
My speaker cable crapped out.
That's
Joey's go-to. Like if Joey ever has technical problems, Joey just straight up takes a mic and then they just go out and start like fucking with people. But just screaming and running around.
It's a good plan.
Basically, at the end of the day, if you don't want technical problems, play drums.
Yeah.
Play drums and don't get into samples.
You guys are definitely frozen up on your screen, just letting you know. Right now I can still hear
we
you.
do other projects? Like okay.
There you go.
Okay, I think
looks like we're back.
Does the worst show have to does the worst show have to deal with Terracell, or can it be outside?
It could be whatever.
Okay.
As long as it's a good story.
Okay, so I do have one, and it was with Dismantle. It was the last show that we played. It was like right before all the lockdowns and quarantine happened. We were playing in Roanoke. It's a place here in Virginia. So my guitar player Jeff, who's also my roommate, if he's listening, I'm going to tell the story. He hates it.
Love Jeff.
Yes. So we were just having a bad day, like all of us. Like the promoter was, the whole thing was a total shit show. And it comes our time to set up. We're setting up, and we're having technical difficulties with my guitar player's rig. But it turned out, and it was partially my fault because he was using one of my guitars, and it was an active pickup guitar. Something happened with the battery terminal, so was disconnected completely, so it just didn't work. So that guitar shit on him. He ended up getting a guitar from one of the other bands that was playing, but it wasn't in the right setup because we played in a very low tuning, and this guitar was, I think, set up for like D or drop D. And as he's tuning the guitar, one of the strings just breaks.
Nice.
So eventually, and then the entire time, there's this drunk dude in front of us the entire time yelling at us, being like, "Come on, play, play!" to the point where I literally had to put my shit down and look at dude and be like, "Shut the fuck up or get out." You know, and even our vocalist Dylan, who Hunter plays in another project with him.
Asylum.
Yep.
Hopefully, we'll have something for you next year, Chris.
But yes, and Dylan is saying the same stuff to this guy, being like, "Yo, dude, chill out. We're doing our best here." And eventually, Jeff just was like, "Fuck it," and just like stood behind like my bass rig while we played. And just to try to give him somewhat of a spotlight because he does do backing vocals on the album. Dylan was just like, "Yo, dude, you're going to do vocals for this song."
That sucks.
So, I mean, it redeemed itself kind of, but yeah, that's a show that we would rather just
Isn't there also
that it didn't happen.
a World Waker show or something that you guys want to talk about?
Yeah,
It was just a shit show. Like, it's not funny. It's not like a good story.
I wasn't in the band anymore. I had quit like a month or two.
Steven knew that this gig was coming.
Yeah, it was just
that's why I quit. Yeah, I knew it was going to be a disaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, basically the same thing happened at that show. Like, just nothing wanted to work. No different than the Terror Cell show that Joey had technical difficulties with. Just nothing was working. That's basically That's basically like the highlight of like our bad show. Is just technical.
We also play with a really intricate lighting setup that
too. Yeah,
sometimes works.
Yeah,
although it sometimes works and not sometimes doesn't work. So like, you're just counting on this thing to fail all the time.
Yeah,
and if it works, it's a miracle.
So yeah, I mean,
shout out to Shiloh.
Yeah,
shout out Greg from Shiloh for hooking us up.
What kind of lighting setup?
So it's super fucking janky. If you've seen us, you know. But it's these two giant towers with what look like circus lights. It's got bulbs that flash white and red, and then there are these little boxes of blue lights that sit under our amps, and there are strobes in the bottom of the towers. And then we have these big like blue floodlights that hit the ceiling. It's super intricate, but it's like super fucking janky. So instead of
being like a picture of it, like on Facebook or something?
If you go to our Instagram, there's a video posted at like 2020 where you can kind of see it, or like there's live videos you can see. But it's not like DMX or MIDI controlled at all. It's all analog, which I've never seen before. Our friend Greg handmade it, and everything is hooked together through a series of extension cords that all go into this little brain that's like a guitar pedal. And you can, you know, there's a blue button that turns all the blue lights on. There is a strobe button that turns the strobes on. And it's like I'm tap dancing and like using my actual guitar pedal board and singing and playing guitar live. So there's a pretty high margin for error at our sets.
I'm glad that Joey is not completely stressed out to not do this band anymore from the light setup.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It reminds me.
Well, don't worry. That's why I'm taking that.
He's going to be taking over on this tour. Fortunately,
I work at a church doing like AV stuff, and I work with Will from Tulpa. And there's been like sometimes when I've had to do stuff by myself, and I feel kind of like the same way. Like I'll have to run a stream and then also like run a board and also like make sure other stuff is working, and it's stressful. So I'm glad. And I'm glad that Joey sticks it out.
Yeah, and like Joey said, like this tour coming up, I'm taking over light duties and some I'm gonna all of light duties, and then I'm gonna give him a break on vocal duties as well for some songs.
I got a video up from your Instagram. It was on August 8th. The lights aren't super crazy, but I can see some lights happening.
They've got some strobes that are pretty like prominent in certain parts where they just literally, I don't know. It's very DIY, but they like hold up pretty well. Like if it's kind of like your setup, like your setup is like super like.
Oh, the August 8th show, we didn't have our lights.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm looking at one from February 10th, 2020 now.
That might be the one.
I see there's a lot of lights happening.
Yep.
But I can't tell that's from you or from like just overhead or whatever. But okay. I got you.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of like how your setup's very low fidelity. Our setup is like very high fidelity as far as like what you have to hook in, I guess, and like coordinate. But they, I would say both our like light setups are like pretty like well, like they both get the job done. Your light show is great, like insane.
Well, thank you.
By the way, but like I think ours has like a similar like quality as far as how much light it can project and like the capabilities of it and whatnot. It's just, we don't have the what's that thing, the connection that you talked
like
about?
DMX.
Yeah, we don't have that connectivity yet. You do that, right?
I mean, I can, but I don't. I just set it to react to the sound. So.
Oh yeah.
People think that I program it, but I'm good. That's so like over my head, and I don't have time to sit there just like for what 30 minutes I'd have to like program what setting these lights would use every time.
Yeah, I know Black Matter Device just like set theirs up like that, and Michael said that it was a fucking nightmare.
Oh yeah, I saw their first show. Where
and theirs is just strobe lights too. So like just imagine like different patterns of lights and like different colors and stuff. Oh my god, that'd be a pain in the ass.
Yeah, completely. I don't know how people do it. Yeah. On this scale, at least.
So you guys got shirts, vinyl, and cassettes available over at terracell.bandcamp.com.
Yes.
Is there more stuff available on like a label website or?
Yeah, so there's a couple of additional shirt designs on Fisher King's storefront here.
Wait, so what's the website?
It's a storefront here account. If you go to the Fisher King Instagram, there's a link tree and you can find everything there.
You need to make a Terracell link tree.
I feel like it's included in that.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, we don't have cassettes available right now for pre-order, but they'll be done next Monday. I have to dub them. So they'll be at the album release show that we have at Ipanema Cafe. It was October 17th.
Yep.
And we're playing that with Circle Breaker, Gift from God, and Flesh Machine. I leave anybody out, or it's just us four, right?
Just us four.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about that. But yeah, we'll have them up on Bandcamp probably that Monday. So next Monday we'll have cassettes available.
You do have cassettes from your EP available still, I think, right?
Yeah.
The EP and the split cassettes are still.
We repressed the EP cassettes, and then we have a ton of split ones left. So if anybody wants to snag any of those, we've got plenty.
So I guess we could wrap this up with your album of the year. Current album of the year, at least.
I've got my last FM open right now.
I'm going to say 3 because I'm indecisive. I'm going to say 4 because I'm indecisive. New Soul Glow is fucking perfect.
Yes.
New Mama Leak is the most interesting thing I've heard in the past couple years. City of Caterpillars' new album is fucking flawless. And then Chat Pile, of course, is really good.
Those are goated for sure.
I've never heard of Mama Leak before.
Oh man.
It's genuinely weird music. Like not like it's like Mr. Bungle, but like with a woodwind orchestra playing like.
That's great.
It's insane.
Is
it's
it
like
Leak
noise.
like Leek or Leak as
correct. Leek?
It's also two anonymous brothers. Like nobody knows who. Probably the people at Flinzer know, but
they've got other members now as well. It's like 5 or 6 people.
So
now.
it's yeah. And I looked at I got the record, and it I don't think it really credits anybody.
No,
it's just
they're
like
all anonymous.
They're just all in like hoods or masks or whatever, kind of like burlap sacks over there.
Yeah, they play shows with like sacks over. It's insane.
It's amazing. And the fact that like they're at the level they are, like signed to a label and they're doing this and they're still anonymous is like mind blowing. They've always been anonymous. Like any Mama Leak record, you don't know who these people are. And I think they've been doing it for like 10, 15 years or something like that.
I think like 2010s when they came out.
Yeah.
Super great band.
Ridiculous.
Well, what's your album of the year, Hunter?
I have to also kind of express those same points that Joey made on those records. I'm going to go off of my last FM because I think that's probably the albums I listen to the most, probably is a good indicator of what I've been doing this year. Coincidentally, the number 1 most streamed record I have this year is Autonomous Weapons, Black Matter Device.
Nice. It's
a great record. Sometimes can't stop listening to it. It's very infectious. It looks like I've streamed this record 350 times. So Michael, Tony, and the gang, you're welcome for hitting 1,000 on whatever song she did because of me.
I think they're way ahead of 1,000.
Nah, I know. Christfucker came out last year, right?
I don't know.
I have Portrayal of Guilt just keeps. I really like the Caged in Gold Helpless record. I've said that in previous podcasts, but that one is up there. The New Wind in the Trees is amazing. Shout out to all of them. Super glad that they have Matt from previously Noise Says and Wormhole, right? Wormhole?
I believe so.
They're ridiculous. Also, the new Mothman record is crazy good. I love Mothman to death. And I think the last two I'll talk about, there's a band from Richmond called Dumbwaiter. It's like very experimental math injected with saxophone and other like genres and stuff. They're insane. Their news record, Gouch Gists, is ridiculous. It's literally the perfect night driving record. Like if you're ever low on energy and need a record at night and need a record to like get you through a drive, that is like the record to go to. It's ridiculous.
I've heard the name before. I never checked them out though. I didn't know that they dropped anything new recently.
Yeah, they have a bunch of older stuff that's more like tappy and mathier, but like this kind of like channels the best parts of like noise rock, math, and like with the saxophone, it all just kind of drives it together. And I think the last record I'll talk about is the new Mars Volta record. I can't stop listening to it. Granted, a lot of people don't really like it because it's pop, but I think them going in that direction is awesome. It's very unexpected. I like when bands take unexpected turns and do like very off-kilter stuff. It's great. I'll also say like the new Ken Mode record is you have to like breathe. You have to remember to breathe during like certain parts of that record. It's relentlessly like just like gnashing, if that's the correct term. I don't know. It's like you're gnawing at you're grinding your teeth the entire time listening to the record of like how insane it's put together and unsettling at times. It's great.
Steven?
What are your records of the year?
What are mine? So I only have two. I'm terrible with keeping up to date with stuff like these ones are.
These ones?
I just listen to music.
I got you.
Yeah. But my two picks would be the new Meshuggah album. I mean, it's Meshuggah, so you're gonna get Meshuggah every time. But I mean, that album, was it Immutable?
Yeah, it's great.
And I actually just saw them 2 weeks ago with Converge and Torch, and that was a great show.
The fact that they took the Down with the Sickness syncopated riff and made it better and Broken Cog is ridiculous. It was like what? Sorry to interrupt, but when I heard Broken Cog for the first time, and that's like the first track on the new Meshuggah record, I was like, wait. They're taking the of the Down with the Sickness and they're making it their own, but it's like so much better. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
At first I wanted to hate it because I'm like, you guys are really taking the same thing from Disturbed, but at the same time, it's like they're just doing it in their way, and you'll never hear a bad Meshuggah song. So.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is like a couple songs on the album, they kind of steered away from 8-string and brought back just the 7s.
Hell yeah.
Which is really weird.
That one that's got God in the name is ridiculous too.
Yeah.
I can't think of it, but it's like in the middle of the record.
Mm-hmm. And I guess my second one would probably be the new Vermin Womb.
Oh my God. I forgot about that.
Christ. Yeah. Like all of us are huge Primitive Man fans, but like Ethan's other band, Vermin Womb, is just a whole other level of disgusting.
It's the most pissed off sounding.
Imagine Primitive Man if Primitive Man went grindcore.
It's like Primitive Man, but like listening to it at 45 RPM instead of 33.
Yeah.
No, I've been trying to get him on the cast actually.
Yeah, the new album Retaliation is pretty ignorant. So
also,
I would say check that out.
Shout out to Rotting in Dirt for their new release, Sagama Beach.
Travis, I love you.
Also very pissed off music. It's great. All the other homies too, that we did not mention. You guys are all fucking killing it, and we love you.
There's been too much good music this year.
It really has, honestly.
I feel like the past few years I've been kind of disappointed at the end of the year, but like I actually can't keep up with how much cool shit this year.
It's funny because like when COVID first like became like lockdown and stuff like that, a lot of people were, at least from my experience, were talking about how like hard it was to write music. But like seeing all the music that's yielded out of that and all of like the isolation and everything, it's ridiculous to actually see how much like amazing stuff has resulted from the pandemic.
Right. It's been crazy the past couple of years. There's been so much shit.
Portrayal of Guild are always just going to be like, all right, we got 2 albums for you. Full of Hell are always going to put out like 1 or 2 things a year.
8 splits.
I love it because piggybacking on what Joey talked about earlier with maintaining like that 1 release a year and stuff, and like getting cold feet and like not wanting to release stuff and wanting to release stuff. I think the pandemic definitely brought about the sensibility that it's probably a good idea that bands start releasing things once a year, huh? You know what I mean? Like before it was like bands taking 5 years to write a record and then it comes out and people are like, okay, but bands continually putting out stuff and quality stuff. I'm glad it's like a norm now. Like it's the fact that Ken Mode have like another record that's unreleased is mind blowing, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff to keep up with now, and you know, I feel like rap's kind of like farther ahead of us, where they're doing like singles and stuff constantly, rather than us just doing like an album a year or something.
I think like streaming in general is just like it created a necessity to be more prolific as an artist, because before it's like, you know, you have the 90s before the internet and shit, and like you're kind of relying on a label where you can, you know, get away with putting something out every 2 or 3 years, and now like everything just moves so fast, like you have to be on top of it.
Right. Well, like these services also incentivize you to drop new things consistently, because then it would be like immediately shared to like people's playlists and stuff like that, or like on TikTok you could like blow up. You know what I mean? Like if you're constantly throwing stuff out. So
it's all just like a content generation machine.
Right, but then you got like the opposing force, which is everybody wants to like buy your album as a vinyl or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. Gotta figure out a way to like balance the two things, you know?
For sure.
It's funny, like sometimes playing shows, you run into like people who like grew up with a heavy like CD, cassette and like vinyl culture, like in the 70s and 80s and stuff. And you'll be like, yeah, we have tapes. And they'll just be like, tapes have come back. It's like, bro,
it's so funny. Like vinyl is the new CDs, tapes are the new vinyl, and then CDs are just kind of like, I guess somebody wants them.
What's wrong, guys? Right. Also, as like another side note, let me say that the God Awful Truth Under the Pier split is fantastic. I just want to throw that out there. In my opinion, it kind of overshadowed the End Cult Leader split, and I hate to.
Damn, those are big words.
It's like both bands stepped their game up even more. But yeah, shout out to God Awful Truth and Under the Pier for making consistently more ridiculous music than anyone could ever imagine.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to say before we head on out?
On tour, we're going to be debuting a live guitarist that is completely an outsider to the band. It's Wesley, formerly Ethan from Tulpa. Tulpa hasn't been putting a lot of gigs, so Wesley's been getting very like anxious about wanting to play and stuff like that. So Atreyu won't be able to make this tour we'll be playing, so we're gonna happily include Ethan as a second guitarist. Also, Joey just wants to run around with a microphone and act very unhinged, so we want to support that. But we're excited for Wesley joining us in this live capacity, and just really stoked for the God's Eyes tour. Definitely, we are just banking on the Furnace Fest God's Eyes performance to carry this whole tour. So,
so if you're looking for some brutal and beautiful stuff, you gotta check out Caustic Light, the debut album from Terracell, which dropped last Friday through Fisher King Records. You're on Facebook, Bandcamp, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and all streaming platforms. Do you have a TikTok by any chance?
We're old.
Joey, like when I like made some Instagram reels for the Terracell account, Joey was like also trying to figure out how to do it. And man, reels are hard and TikToks are hard, but like
I don't even bother.
I'm a crumbling 80-year-old man with technology. Instagram's enough for me, man.
Nah, you just repost your videos to TikTok. It's super simple. Super simple.
Oh yeah.
But as for me, any other links we're trying to show, make people go to? I guess there's Fisher King Records.bandcamp.com, I imagine.
Yeah, Fisher King Records Bandcamp, FisherKingRecords.com. You can pre-order the record. They are moving way faster than anticipated.
Yes, they are.
It's kind of crazy.
So you can pre-order it today. They're shipping out sometime between January and February. May end up having to do a second press. We'll see.
Also, shout out the Sound That Ends creation. There's a new EP dropping. I don't know if anybody's aware.
Bubblegum City, baby.
Yeah, Bubblegum City. Bubblegum Unicorn City, baby. Pre-order that. Sell out all 100 records. Chris isn't going to press any more of that record. If he does, then he's canceled. He's canceled by Christian. No more Mathcore promotion.
Well, as for me, on my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. You can also sub to this channel to get access to the interviews before they hit YouTube and other streaming platforms as well. You can also sub for free by attaching Amazon Prime account. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. YouTube folks, if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It's a great way to support me for free. Check out my music with Sound Ends Creation at soundendscreation.bandcamp.com. Again, I have merch up for pre-order. We got windbreakers, joggers, vinyl, all sorts of stuff. Check that out. My next guest is Gospel. We got that rescheduled, so that's definitely happening. Join us this Wednesday the 12th at 7 p.m. Central for the live interview on Twitch. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you had a good time.
Dude, I'm stoked that you got Gospel. That's insane.
Dude, hell yeah, man. It's fucking sick.
Yeah, I'm definitely tuning in for that one.
Well, thanks for being here, and thank you guys for watching and listening.